Good morning, dear students. This is the third chapter, that is fiber to fabric. In class 6 also you have read the natural fiber and synthetic fiber. In natural fiber you have read the cotton, wool, hemp, flax, which is obtained in the nature, that is which is obtained from the nature, from the plant sources and the animal source. So we can categorize the fiber into two categories, that is plant fiber and animal fiber. So here once again in class 7 we have some elaborated form of the fiber to fabric, and here mainly we will discuss the animal fiber. Though this is also natural fiber, but the animal fibers like wool and the silk, that is more important in our syllabus. So here we will start fiber to fabric. So fiber is a natural or man-made substance which is used to produce fabric or the clothes. So this is the natural substance. It may be the synthetic substance. Synthetic substance produces synthetic fiber, and natural substance produces natural fiber like wool and the cotton or the silk. Fiber is made from the natural substance like cellulose, protein and starch. It is also made from the some chemicals or petrochemicals, and in this way from chemicals or petrochemicals the fibers are produced, that is called synthetic fiber or the man-made fibers like nylon, polyester, etc. Fiber is also obtained from the animals in the form of the hairs, fur or fleece in the form of thread-like substances. Therefore, fiber is of two types, natural fiber and synthetic fiber. As I have said earlier, the plant fiber and animal fibers are natural fibers because it is present in the nature, and synthetic fibers are man-made fibers which is produced or synthesized in the laboratory or in factories. And examples are nylon, terling and polyester. Example of plant fibers, that is cotton, jute, hemp, etc., which form the cotton clothes, sacks, carry bags, mat, linen cloths and etc. Animal fibers like wool, silk, which is obtained from the animals. Now, different forms of the silk. We have different varieties of the silks, and that is obtained from the leaves on which the silkworm feed. That is the munga silk, tassar silk, mulberry silk, eri, etc. So all these varieties of the silk are obtained from the leaves on which the silkworm feeds, and we get the different kinds of the or different varieties of the silk available in the market. The production of the silk on the large scale, that is known as sericulture. So sericulture is the branch of the science in which we study or deals about the silk. That is called sericulture. And if we talk about the history of the silk, it has gone back into the 4,500 years back, when it was for the first time produced by the China on the Himalayan silk moth, and from there it is spread into the different countries. Though they have kept secret the production of silk, but from the China it came to the India by the traders, and India is the second largest producer of the silk in the world. Now process. What are the process to produce silk from silkworm? So first process to produce the silk, that is the egg of silk moths are kept in a separate linen bag or the tray to reproduce, where this egg produces more than 200 to 300 eggs of silkworm in a tray. This egg then transfer into the incubator to give the proper temperature, and in this incubator the larvae hatch out from the egg after getting suitable temperature. So from the egg larva is produced after getting the suitable temperature in the incubator, and from the larva pupa is produced. So larvae are given proper food and nutrition. Then silk moth sleep for at least 24 hours at an intervals of the 6 days. So at an intervals of the 6 days it sleeps for the 24 hours, and larva hatch into the pupa by a process known as molting. So larva change into the pupa. So earlier, again just I am going to repeat, the silkworm produces egg, or silk moth produces egg develops into the larva, and larva develops into pupa. The pupa develops into the cocoon. It is a soft covering, then an insect spin with the silky threads to protect itself. So cocoon is the outer protective covering. Inside of the cocoon, the silk threads are produced. And when silk has to be taken out from the cocoons, these cocoons are kept in the sunlight, or it is boiled in the water, so that cocoons becomes dead, and from the cocoons silk thread or yarn is taken out. The worm completes its cocoon, which is about 4 cm long. This cocoon is passed into hot air, as I told you earlier. It is passed into the hot air, or it is kept under the hot water, so that it can be killed. So to produce 1 kg of the silk thread, 200 to 300 silk moth cocoons are killed. So it is very inhuman treatment for the silk moth. So if we are getting the silk clothes, and if you wear the silk clothes, then you can understand how much quantity of the silk moths can be killed. The filament, which is a cocoon, is made up of too fine and delicate to handle. It is very soft, it is delicate, so it should be handled carefully. To get 1 kg, that we have discussed. Damaged cocoons are used to make the inferior silk quality called spun silk, and good quality silk is known as raw silk. The raw silk is then twisted and dyed to give them the different colors. The threads or the raw threads or the silk that we get, it is twisted to make it strong, and then different colors are given to get the different color of the silk fabrics. The fibers are wound on bobbins and later woven into clothes. The lengthwise thread is called organzine, and the crosswise thread is called tram. So this is all about the life cycle of the silkworm, from which we get the silk. Thank you. In next class we will see the production of the wool.